Good morning. Today is a beautiful day. I woke up this morning and you know what? I just decided to take on the attitude of gratitude today. Today is a beautiful day. It's just getting started and there are so many promises waiting on us on today. It's all in how you look at it. So today is day 8, you guys, and I'm so excited because we're moving along. We touched on some of the heavier stuff in the first week, and now this week we're getting amped up and we're getting ready to really put some stuff in action. So with that being said, one of the things that I feel like was necessary for me to do as I was coming out of this dark place, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So today is day 8, and the title of today is called Take Inventory. Now, I want to put a disclaimer out there that some of the stuff that I say today you may not really like it. It might hit home, it might step on your foot a little bit, but that's okay. Just remember that I'm writing from my perspective, and these are some of the thoughts and ideas, as I was writing this to help me. So I just want to share it with you, okay? So it's nothing personal. My whole goal and my whole mission is to help you to come out of that dark place and to use what I went through to try to help other people. So take inventory. What I found is that many times after we experience traumatic events, like the end of relationships, the loss of a job, the onset or the end of a mental health breakdown or relapse, just etc., anything like that, we find ourselves left with what feels like rock bottom or what feels like the broken pieces. And it's natural to feel like that in that, whole situation that you went through, that at the end of it, that all is lost. And when you're learning the after effects of what happened to you after that situation, you really are starting to play some of those things over. Hey, John, thanks for joining me this morning. But you just really start to think about some of these things that you go through and what happened and how it happened. And so you're in the awakening piece of this whole traumatic incident at the end and trying to figure out what went wrong. And I'm going to say this, it's scary to start over. And it's really scary to start over after you feel like you've done it multiple times. Like you think after you experience starting over one time, like that's the only time in your life that you're ever supposed to experience that. But what I found is that's not true. We are supposed to start over and to grow at every level, different seasons of our lives. I kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday when I mentioned Donkey Kong and that whole game and how, every level is different. Well, every level is different for every different season in our lives. So there might be some seasons that we're going to go into that are very unfamiliar. And so we feel like we're starting at rock bottom. All right, so considering the fact that during this time, it was a start over season for me. And these are some of the things that I experienced during that time to kind of help you so you can see if this is where you are currently. So there were a couple of things that played over in my mind over and over again during that rock bottom piece when I felt like that all my pieces were broken. I kept on playing in my mind that like I worked so hard. How did I get here when I worked so hard, when I really tried to make sure that I didn't get here? Like, what do you do when you really went through life and tried to cover every angle and try to strategically put yourself in places to where you're not at rock bottom and having to start over? So that didn't have to be your life story. What about the other thought that I would have all the time that I'm sure you can relate to is that I put in so much work. Like I'm never going to recover that time. Like it's been 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, a lifetime, I've been in that marriage so long. How am I going to get that time back? We've been married for 40 years. And now here it is, I'm going through a divorce in 40 years, and I'm 60, 70 years old. How do I get that time back? I mean, you focus on those things when you're at rock bottom. The other thing was, I asked myself over and over again, like, why did I allow myself to stay in that so long? And I'm just gonna say to you, don't beat yourself up about that, because hindsight is 2020. Yeah, we always see what we should have said, what we should have done at the end after we got out of it. Because see, you can see things clearly once you get out of it, but when you're in it, you can't really see it that clear. So don't beat yourself up about that. And then the other thought that I had, or that I've heard people say is that, how could I start all over at this age? That's so crazy. I'm at my prime in my career, even though I'm miserable and I hate what I do and I've spent so much time getting to this point. Facts are, I'm not happy and this is not what I want to do, but it'll seem so crazy to start all over, like it's too late. I can't start all over. I'm 40 years old. I should have this and this and this by this time. There goes that whole society timeline that's not real. But the point is, these are some of the things that I've said, or these are some of the things that people have said to me. The other one is, you're afraid to be broke. I mean, let's be real. Nobody wants to be broke. Nobody wants to be broke financially, and nobody wants to be broke emotionally. Either way, it hurts, okay? It hurts whether you don't have the money. It hurts whether you don't have the relationship or you're not a whole person. It hurts, and nobody wants to be broke, okay? So that's why you'll have these feelings at rock bottom. And here's the thing that I want you to remember. It's most important for you to remember that the reason why you are afraid is because you are now at a point where you have to look in the mirror and you say you have this faith and you say you can do these things and you can accomplish and conquer all these things. But when you find yourself facing the very thing that you really deep down inside didn't ever want to face again, but you told yourself if you had to face it, you could, it really questions your faith, what you told yourself, what you believe in, and questions it at that point when you're at rock bottom. And so it's scary. That's why we don't want to be there. It's scary. So I'm going to give you an example of what happened for me. So even in the seasons where I was financially prosperous and I felt like that I was financially stable, I used to say, oh, I've been broke before. I can do this. I've been broke before and made my way to this point, so it's no big deal, right? Okay, so when it really happened and I was broke again, I had to really eat my crow, okay? I had to face that thing that I told myself when I was doing well that I could really do. And it wasn't fun. It was very scary because I was at that place where it's like, oh, wow, what do I do now? Like, I know I said I've been broke before. And so if I did it once, I could do it again. But what happens when you broke again? You know how they say, I hear my kids say all the time, oh, you broke. Like when you at that point to where you broke again, like that's scary. So being broke and starting over was very scary. And it's scary, like I said before, regardless if it's financial or if it's emotional. But the good news is, this is the good part of it, okay? So the good news is I found out that I was really in the best place possible. And I know that doesn't make sense, but I really was. I was in the best place that there could be because, see, it's at this point that I had an opportunity to either rebuild or reinvent. Okay, so I had to make a decision about how I wanted to choose to look forward. Like, do I want to rebuild what I had, or do I want to reinvent who I am? See, it's at this point that you have options, and this, I'm gonna give you just a couple of things to consider, okay? So number one is you have the option to sit and relive what happened over and over again. And I can tell you right now that the outcome to that is you're going to end up feeling bitter. You're going to end up feeling angry, and it's going to ultimately paralyze you. You will not be effective in that, okay? And what that looks like, so you can kind of think to yourself, oh, is that me? Am I playing it over and over again? Like, could she possibly talking about me? So let me tell you what it looks like. So what that looks like is, if this is you every day, you remind yourself that you are still angry at that person or at that situation. If all you talk about to other people or to your close friends is this particular situation or that relationship or what happened to you, That's all you talk about. At some point in the conversation, you're going to come back around to this. If it feels like every day that a dark cloud is kind of following you, and that's mainly because this whole situation has become your focus. So yes, the dark cloud is following you because that's what you're choosing to focus on. If it's been a long time and you are still unhappy, you're bitter, and you personally feel like that you haven't made any progress, which that's one of the things that makes you really bitter. It's not what other people think all the time. A lot of times it's your own personal internal standards. When you feel like you haven't made any progress, but you should have made some progress by this point, that can make you really angry. Okay? So the other option is this. You can actually seek some help and try to make sense of it all, and try to figure out how you can turn your pain into your purpose. And you can do that through counselors. You can do that through pastors. You can do that through self-help groups. But the other option is you can actually get some help and move forward. If it's your sister friends, that's fine too. Or some of the guys in the group, that's fine too. But my whole point is your other option is you can actually move forward. See, the key to this is how and what you look at and what you focus on when you're at this bottom place, when you're at this broken place. I don't want to just stay on the negative aspects of it. I just wanted to do that to kind of give you some ideas of where you might be. If you can relate to what I'm saying, then you can understand that you might be at this place. And so if you are at this place, the good news is you can move forward. You're not any different than the rest of us. We have all been there. I'm doing it. You're doing it. It's going to be okay. So it's time to move forward. So it's what you choose to focus on. If you want to focus on the positives in your situation, as hard as if you can just find one, that's enough. It's like the old saying goes, it's time for you to turn lemons into lemonade. You can actually look at that. And I know it sounds good, but it doesn't always feel good. But yeah, there comes a point in life where you got 2-3 bushels of lemons. And now we got to figure out how to turn that into lemonade. The other part is you got to remember that everything in life that's worth having is worth fighting for. I had to make a decision in that dark place. I'm either going to put up or shut up. So I'm either going to get up and do something about it, or I need to be quiet. Stop sharing it. Stop putting life into it, making it grow, because I keep talking about it over and over again. I told myself that it's time to do an inventory. And so when I sat down to do that inventory, I had to be honest with myself, and I had to say, okay, yeah, you lost mostly everything out of this one. Yep, it's okay. Let's put it this way. It's not okay right now, but it will be okay. But the facts are that, yep, I lost quite a bit out of this one. The other one is what do I have left that I can actually work with? Because I didn't lose everything. I'm still here. All is not lost. What do I have left that I can work with? And that might be a little challenging because you're still hurting from it, but you still have something left. What do you have left? And the other thing is, I challenge myself in regards to, do I like the person that I am? So since I'm at this rock bottom place and I got to start over anyway, do I like the person that I am? And I had to say to myself, yeah, she all right, but she got some improvements she needs to make. And the bottom line is, if I want to make those improvements, then do it. Now I can be the new K 5.0, the new model. It's time to put up or shut up. All is not lost. We got to move forward. When you're in this place, you got to stop believing that you do not have options, because you do. You have options. Even in the worst place possible, you have options. You have the option to get up. You have the option to seek help if you cannot get up on your own. And you have the option to believe that you got to get up because there's work to do. And one of the things that helps me as I move forward, and I have positive affirmation that I go back and I try to read every day, is Proverbs 18:16. And that says, a man's gifts opens doors for him and brings him before great men. So I have to remember that even though my current situation may not look bright, it's okay because my gifts will make room for themselves as long as I get up. I can't stay at this place. The gifts are not going to just do what they do on their own. If that was the case, we'd all be birthed in purpose. But clearly, there's something in here that says that we're going to have to push a little harder. And if you had kids, then you know, whether you had a C-section or whether you had vaginal birth, the whole point is it was painful, it was tough. It's either painful during the birthing or painful after the birthing. Either way it goes, you're not going to get around that pain. Even with the epidural, I know because I have 4 kids, and out of 4, the epidural only worked on 1. And it worked so well, my legs were paralyzed for almost a day. But my whole point is this: birthing will cause pain, and it's okay. And it's not easy. It's hard. We've got to push. Even after we have that baby, it's not easy. It's hard. We got to re-identify who we are, move forward, try to figure things out for me, figure things out for the kids, just figure it out. But it's hard, but that's birthing. And it's such a beautiful thing because it's new life, transformation, new season. And that's what you have to remember. And I just want you to think about that and to try to figure out what it's going to take for you to move forward. What is it going to take? So I want you to just kind of think about this as you do your inventory. And I know this is going to sound kind of harsh, but this is true. So as you move forward and you do your inventory, I want you to look at some things. I'm going to give you a couple ideas. So number 1 is look at your job. Is it conducive to where you are or where you're going? If it's not, don't just quit, but find something else. Figure out what you want to do. Do some career inventory tests. Figure out what you like, pursue what you like. Maybe it will not be a lot of money, but that's okay. Are you happy? The money will come when you're happy and you're pursuing those things that you want. Number 2, I know this one's going to be rough, but I got to say it. Look at your significant other. Yep, I said it. Are they a weight on the boat, or do they actually have a paddle? Because if they are not helping you to move that boat forward, gonna have to take inventory and make a decision. Number 3, your mindset. Is playing the victim working for you? And I know a lot of people get sensitive when you say that, but honestly, when we've been at that dark place a long time, we do turn into victims. It's like a thin line that we cross over into it and we're a victim. It's our mindset. It's the victim mindset. What happened to you may have made you a victim, but it's when you choose to continue to be a victim up here. It's a mindset. It's how you move forward. Next thing is your habits. So does it work for you to keep putting tasks off and not completing them? Putting it down every time that you see that it's not working out or it's not working out the way you thought it should work out? Like, does that work? And I'll be honest with you, no, it does not work because you start to think that you can accomplish things and that you're not a completer. And I'm going to be honest with you, you're a completer and you didn't even know it. Let me tell you why. You are a completer because you can identify with some of these things where you have completed it, okay? You just didn't think outside the box, but I'm going to help you think outside the box. So if you believe that you were not a completer because you have dropped some tasks and haven't moved forward, you are a completer. Let me show you how. Number 1 is you are proud of the degree that you have. The only way you can be proud of that degree is because you actually completed it, whether it's a certification, whether it's a 18-month degree, whether it's a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, it doesn't matter. You completed it and you are proud to say that you completed that degree. At some point, you let somebody know you have a degree. Number 2, you have been consistent with your negative narrative most of your life. I can vouch for that one. I held on to that negative narrative, which means I can hold on to something and complete it. It doesn't sound good, but the point is I can prove that I can actually hold on to something and complete it. Number 3, you proudly tell everybody about your grown kids and all their accomplishments. You completed raising them. That's a good thing. There's nothing wrong in that, but it's another sign that you're a completer. Or number 4, You have let everybody know that you actually have been married 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, and you've held on, even if it's not working. The fact is, you held on, you're holding on. So you're completing something. Okay, so these might not sound all that great, but the point is, I want to prove to you that you have the ability to complete something. It's just what you're choosing to complete and focus on. Okay, so the bottom line that I'm going to leave for you is life is hard. And sometimes, because life is hard and some seasons are hard, we have to pick our hard. So you're either going to pick, you're hardly working what you have left, or you're going to pick that you turn hard because it happened to you, or are you working hard at using the leftover pieces to propel forward? What if the pieces you have left are enough to birth your purpose? What if you're at rock bottom because you didn't need all that stuff you had on you anyway? It blinded you. It didn't help you to see where you needed to go. It prevented you from that. So it had to leave. What if that's the case? So in closing, I'm going to leave this with you. Take inventory and be intentional about how you choose to look at your current situation. It's time to squeeze those lemons. And as a matter of fact, have you ever heard of an Arnold Palmer? I heard that lemonade is really good with sweet tea. It's all in how you choose to look at it. So once again, in closing, take inventory. Have a wonderful day. This is a beautiful day. It's all in how you're intentional about looking at it. Let's make one goal that we want to accomplish before the end of today. After we take inventory, let's make one goal. And that's it. Whether you accomplish at the end of the day or not, set one goal and trust yourself to actually work towards that goal. Even if you don't feel like it, set one goal and try to accomplish one small task today. Because at the end of the day, you're going to complete something. It's what you're focused on completing. All right. Have a good day. Take inventory, and I will see you tomorrow for day 9. Be blessed, everybody.